Hello.
Hi.
And welcome back to another episode of Break Room Banter.
It is a hairstylist adjacent podcast where each week
two friends
who also happen to be hairstylists
break down our weeks in the break room. I'm your host, Hunter Walden.
and I am your hostess, Erica the Red.
And today we're joined by social media icon,
Legend,
Josh Does Hair.
Hey, welcome. Hi. Hello.
Hi. So Josh and I have known each other since hair school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I didn't
Long
realize you
time.
guys went to hair school together.
we didn't.
We didn't go to hair school together, but Hunter came to see me a long time ago at the salon.
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah. He cut my hair.
Didn't we
I had
bleach
already
it?
graduated. You came to my house and we bleached it. You colored it
Yeah.
pink.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
But yeah, so we've known each other for a really long time, followed each other on social media, always supported each other, and I'm excited that you're here
Yeah.
today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And speaking of social media, that's the topic for today.
Yay.
So we've got questions like we're going to discuss some drama that's been going on in the world of TikTok, Instagram,
Hairstylists.
period. We're going to talk about your strategy if you have them. Anything that you have tips, tricks wise for the people listening. What we found is a lot of hairstylists, even hairstylists that have been in the game 20 plus years, are platform artists featured in magazines. The common thread upon all of them is that they either hate social media, hate that they have to do it, or they just don't understand it. And so I'm really excited to kind of dive into that. Erica has a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I love social media. I love Instagram. I love TikTok. Erica is one of those people that absolutely despise.
I don't despise it. I just wish I understood it and was like more adept at it. I don't know. I'm old.
I don't know. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm starting to hate it, too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really fun to start out, but then it kind of became a job, and it became a second job after you get off of work. It's becoming a lot. So I'm starting to go in between both. I mean, there's days where I love it, and then there's days where I hate it. It just depends on the day, you know?
Yeah.
And you go through like spurts of not posting too.
Yeah. Currently, we are not posting. We are not in the posting mode. No.
Are you taking photos still? Like,
Every now and again, I feel like it's just, I've been doing hair for almost 10 years now. We've been in it for a while, and I feel like to start out, when we started out, social media was really starting to like pick up and become a thing. So I feel like when we started, it became something we did all the time. And as time has gone on, how many times do we do like a red or a blonde, and then we see it and we're like, oh my God, I love it. But to us, we've seen it so many times before that we're kind of like, we lose the shock factor whenever we're doing it over and over again, I feel. And to them, they love it. It looks amazing. And like, there's times where like, I'm like, yeah, I love this. But, I don't know. There's so much content that we've already posted before that I'm like, do we need to take a picture of it? Do we not need to? I don't know. I'm kind of a little over it.
I get in that mode too. Or it's like, I've already posted this client 150 times.
Yeah.
And I have some clients that are like, you've never posted me.
I know.
And it's like, well, because you come in the afternoon.
Like right when the sun's going down, they want to have their picture taken.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll take a picture, but the odds of me posting it because of the lighting is very slim.
Yeah. Lighting is key when it comes to all the pictures and the videos, and especially like natural lighting. I used to love the ring light when I first started out, and I would even take like in a ring light, I would go outside and do it in overcast and then do it kind of in the shade. And now if it's just not natural lighting, I won't even take a picture of it anymore.
Yeah.
I feel it the same way. Like, I prefer the natural lighting to any type of lighting. I do love a good studio shoot though.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. I love a studio shoot where there's lights everywhere. The model is there. We're editorial. I like that aspect of social media, I think.
Yeah.
The editorial, like, I want to post high quality videos, high quality photos.
That's like a content day. Planned
Yeah.
content
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
um,
Versus like real life behind the chair.
yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people look on social media and they see all these really great posts, but then they are like, they don't understand that maybe that person blocked out the whole day just to take content of this one person.
Well, and that can be intimidating too as a like person who wants to be better at it. Is like you look at it, the people that do all this great stuff, it's like that's what they're doing most of the time. Most of the time. Not all the time. But most of the time it is these things. So it's kind of like that Instagram versus reality, I feel like, almost, you know? But I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Do we want to dive into our question?
Yeah. Okay, so here is my question, and kind of like piggybacking off of what you said just now. Like when you were starting out, and I kind of remember when it became a thing because I've been doing hair for a long time too, is like, did you go in with a strategy of like, this is going to get me people in my chair? Or were you just like kind of caught up in the high of like, I love doing hair and it's new and it's fun and all this and I'm posting about it? Or did you go in with like a strategy?
I definitely feel like I went in with the strategy, but my idea was not just trying to get clients. I feel like I was trying to just become famous. I
Okay.
feel like that was something that I really wanted to be when I was little. I always loved the idea of famous people, you know, getting free things and going on the fun trips and, you know, all of the cool things like that. So whenever I started, my biggest idol was Guy Tang at the time. I love him so much. I saw a lot of what he got to do, and I was like, you know, I kind of want to do that too. I think that would be so cool. And I can do this doing hair. Like, what? You know, part of my career, I'm doing hair, but I'm also, you know, traveling the world and doing all of these fun things and having all these brands support me. And, you know, I think it'd be amazing. So I feel like I went into it with the strategy of almost just trying to get as much of a spotlight as I could.
Get eyes on you.
Yeah. And with that, I just tried to post things that caught everyone's attention. And in the time, in the moment, I feel like fashion colors, they were the really big thing that weren't really common. So I personally love doing fashion colors. It's my favorite thing to do. It takes a long time sometimes, but I mean, I think that's where a lot of the fun is. It could be a whole color correction and doing that, and it really caught a lot of people's attention. And then whenever I started doing it more and more often, just more people came in that wanted to do the fashion colors, and it started kind of creating a clientele for me. And I don't know. I mean, I think it was just the idea of trying to get attention from people. Like, I love the attention. Yeah.
I love that you said that
I
because
do
I don't
too.
know very many
Yeah.
people that would actually admit that
Seriously.
they're posting to gain attention.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like back then I didn't really have any friends or knew anyone. I was getting fresh out of high school, and I feel like we all go through that depression after we get out of high school where we feel like, oh, this is it. Like, no more.
What do we
Everything's
do now?
gone. Yeah, all my friends are gone. Like, what do I do? And I feel like I was kind of just fighting for the attention of other people and wanting to, you know, have fun. And yeah, I don't know.
I love that.
I
I
do
love that
too.
you like admit that.
Well, that's the reality of it, regardless if you want to call it branding or whatever. It's you need attention for that.
Yeah.
Other people's attention. So
Yeah, the whole point of social media is to get attention.
attention.
And
Yeah.
everyone that posts on social media wants attention.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
But-
like, people won't admit it, but it's the
I've
whole
never
reason why a
admitted
lot of
it, but
people
it's
do
true.
It is true. Yeah.
It's fully true.
I think that's why I hate it so much, because I don't want to feel like I'm trying to get attention.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that is what it is.
Whether
what
you're
you have to
trying,
do.
like Josh, trying to get attention from a brand,
Mhm.
you're trying to either get attention from brands or you're trying to get attention from potential clients.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One
Or,
way
like,
or the
people
other.
you idolize. Like,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would fully agree with that. Like, it's the purpose is to get to work with those people that you idolize
Yeah.
and get to be side by side and talk to them in person and learn from that person.
Mhm.
And you kind of touched on it, how does your following on on social media translate to behind the chair? Like following versus butts in the seat. And was it a slow burn, or was it like, ooh, everybody wants their hair done by me now?
What do you mean? Like,
Does your social media following bring you clients?
absolutely.
And how,
yeah.
if so, like what percentage would you say?
I feel like all of it.
All of it.
All
Okay.
of it, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of people that I work on that are from social media. I mean, 90% would be from Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 10% is just from, word of mouth. But then, like, I have a lot of girls that come in that will have their sisters come in or their mom. And, it kind of like trickles into the family and that kind of thing, or like friends and family. But 90% of it, I would say, is Instagram, social media.
That original client came from social media.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
for you would say that all of the stylists that are out here saying like, it's word of mouth, it's word of mouth, that's how you grow a clientele, sustainability is not social media, you would completely disagree with that?
I definitely feel like with social media, clients can be more flaky. Like,
So that's a factor.
it's definitely a factor. I had to start doing deposits a while ago because so many people will come through social media, try and book an appointment, and they'll either, we'll get to the end of the text thread where we're finishing the appointment, and they'll either ghost you or just not show up to the appointment at all. And I feel like even the clients that do come from social media, a lot of them do come from social media, but I don't find that a lot of them stay as long as like a loyal client would. Like, I have some people that I've gotten from social media that I've worked on my whole career. And then I would say at least half of them I will have for 2 or 3 years, and they go somewhere else, they stop getting their hair done, whatever, but I don't feel that they're as loyal as like a word of mouth client would be. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And that's good to know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the people that aren't social media savvy, like, that is a factor in it. Would you say, like, that your consistency on social media, it negates the fact that those clients might only come in one time? Like, there's always a constant flow of people wanting in. So it doesn't matter if that person comes in once, gets their hair done, and then never comes back.
I guess it would depend on like how consistent you are with social media. If you are consistent to a point where you do have like a really big following and you're constantly having new people discover you, then with that I guess it wouldn't matter. But if you're still really small, like trying to build and don't really have much of a following, I guess not being consistent could hurt you. People do look at that and they're like, oh, they're not posting. Maybe they're not in the salon as much. Maybe they're not doing as much. It's definitely, you have to think about the perspective of them and what they think, even though, all the time people are like, screw what people think. Who cares what people think? But at the end of the day, it definitely matters. And like your perception on the internet definitely matters to the people out there. So, I mean, yes and no. It depends on the person. Depends on the, the stylist, whether their following is big or not.
I mean, what I'm hearing is if you're going to be consistent on social media and use it as a way to build your clientele or get butts in your seats, be consistent with it.
Yeah.
But don't necessarily let go of quality of service, because word of mouth is still going to be a huge part that's going to bring you some of those clients that might be your bread and butter some days.
Yeah.
Got it.
For sure. For sure.
Hang on. This one is a good one. Please hold. So when you are posting, when you do post, who is your target client that you're posting for? It looks like maybe Vivids.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like any kind of vivid color that could come in. I really like to do color corrections. So I feel like I like to post a lot of things that are hard, things that take 6, 7, could be 8-hour services. I really like a challenge when I have clients in my chair. It's fun to do just, traditional highlights or, an ombre or something. But having someone come in and completely change their hair from like a dark brown to blonde all over, that's my kind of thing. I love doing it. I like to do things I like to have colors in my chair that I feel like I don't see in the day-to-day person. I like to make my clients feel unique in their coloring. Yeah.
I like that.
What do you use to make the content? Like, are you using your phone all the time? Do you
No.
have a camera?
So I always use my camera. I have a Canon. I think it's an EO5.
Mm-hmm.
I actually bought it from my best friend. She bought it a couple of years ago, right before the world shut down. She bought a camera to go explore and like travel and, you know, go to like Arizona and take pictures and stuff.
Plot twist.
I think
Right.
she used it for like one trip and then it collected dust in her closet forever. And I went over to her house and I was like, hey, I need a new camera. And I bought it off of her and I've just been using that. But I always use a professional camera when I go outside to take pictures. And then I just upload it to my phone and then we post it on Insta. It's pretty simple. I mean, I don't like to use my phone much because I don't feel like the quality is the same.
It's
Mm.
not.
And I feel like the lighting is completely different in it. I feel like I have more control with the camera. And the picture quality is so much higher on a camera. So I feel like if it's needed to be like recycled, or if I need to use it, or if let's say a brand does reach out and they want to use it, or if like a magazine wants to put it in a magazine, you know, it's high quality enough to where they are able to use it. It doesn't look like pixelated or anything, and they can blow it up to whatever size they need.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just convenient all around to use like a professional camera, yeah.
So do you do you have clients that are just boring old natural highlight clients, or
Oh,
your
yeah.
touch up clients? You're just
Yeah.
not posting it,
No, not
Yeah.
really. I mean, that wouldn't get the attention that I'm looking for.
right?
You know? No
Well, one of
attention.
the things I noticed about your page versus other hairstylists like social media when I looked at it is like it's kind of awesome to see a stylist who you look at their page and it's all hair.
Yeah.
It's not hairstylist humor, which I no tea, no shade. I love that stuff. It's great and wonderful. But like you're not posting about here's my education. Like you can tell your page is really geared at the client, you
Mhm.
know? And I think as a hairstylist, we all got the message at some point in the last few years, like, oh, you can't just have hair on your social media. Like you have to be showing people who you are and all this stuff. But yours is all hair. And I like that. I think it's good. And
Oh,
you obviously
thanks.
have a clientele and a following, you know? So I just want to say that I think it's cool that you did that and you didn't like
Give in to
give
like,
in. I mean, I noticed I looked at your TikTok too, and you have some other stuff that's more like directed at, you know, videos of you talking and stuff. But I love that your Instagram is like, it's a beautiful portfolio of your work.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we get pressured now to do different
Mhm.
things, and every year there's a new person on a stage saying what we should do and what we shouldn't do, and I'm just tired of listening to
Period.
what everyone is saying. I kind of just follow with what I think and what's working for me, and it's always kind of worked for me in a way, so I'm just going to keep doing me.
Yeah.
And you know, if you have your thing, you know, do your thing. I mean, I don't think we should all be following the same kind of thing, because then we get lost. We all start blending and becoming the same person. We lose like our individuality. And I think it's really important to also go back to the client and make it about them, because they are the reason why we're doing what we're doing.
That's solid advice, man. I
Mm,
dig it.
I dig it. And no one's saying shit like that
No.
either. Like when you talk about social media, it is always about like, well, you need to do this and
And
you
the
need to do that
algorithm
and you need to
yeah.
do this versus do what. If you're not doing what's making you happy, like if you're not posting what makes you happy to post, you're not going to stay consistent with it
Yeah.
too. I think that's also important to note.
Oh, my foot fell asleep.
So we talked about TikTok a little. You touched
Yeah.
on TikTok. You have recently come under some fire
Yeah.
from TikTok. Was it TikTok?
No, I think
I saw it
was-
on Instagram.
Yeah, it was on Instagram.
Let's talk about it.
Which one are we talking about?
Oh God.
Because, you know,
I've only seen one. So you were talking about BTC, behind the chair competition,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I
Um,
saw that one.
talking about the rules of the contest, meaning they can post your
Use your
content
video.
Forever.
or your-
forever and
Yeah.
ever and always. It's a part of the contract you sign whenever you sign on to the competition. Then it was stitched online by someone with yellow hair, And
Blech.
yeah.
Gross.
So what was the whole situation with that?
So I woke up that morning and I was kind of just in this mood. I have a personal thing with BTC. I cannot stand them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand the owner of it. I can't stand just the whole idea of the contest.
And you know what? It sounds like a common thread.
Yeah.
Most people,
was
like,
gonna
I'm
say,
wondering
we've
how
been
they still
hearing
have
this
a
a lot.
following, because most people have negative things to say.
I think they just have such a big following to this point that it's split. I feel like a lot of people in the industry see through it, and a lot of people are still kind of new to the industry, or maybe they are seeking validation, or they're wanting that attention from a really big brand, and they're still going after it. I don't know.
Mm.
But there was a morning where I kind of just woke up. I wasn't in the best mood. I remember going to walk my dog, and then I went to give him a bath. And I got out of the place where I give him a bath, and I got in my car, and I opened Facebook. It actually started on Facebook. So I opened Facebook, and we have so many different groups on Facebook where we can share our work, where hairdressers just sit and talk. And somebody posted in a group about how the contest feels rigged, how the same people win every year, yada, 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 all the same things we've heard before. And it just became a long text thread of this girl talking about the contest. And I started sifting through the comments, and I started reading some things. And my comment back to the post was, yeah, they weren't ever really a nice company, because I've had, personal encounters with them. They've never been great. And I just kind of left my comment there. Well, I had someone message me, and they started talking to me about the contest, and they started saying, I think it's crazy that they're requesting you to put a watermark on your photo that even gives them more rights to the photo later on. They own your photos forever. And I started thinking about it and was like, oh my God, that's crazy. So I went to the actual contest page and started reading it. Contest ended, I think, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But I went on there just to read for myself to see, is there evidence of this saying that they own your photos forever? And I went through the terms and conditions, and it said, in perpetuity, they can use their photos forever in promotion to any other contest from here on to forever.
Royalty free. Didn't even say that in there.
Yeah, royalty free. The stylist isn't getting paid anything, and they're doing all this work, in return getting nothing for it. Well, there's a creator out there that always, she pretty much does everything to read the terms and conditions, and she reads contracts, and she constantly stands and says that she is, for the stylist, trying to, get our rights out there and things like that. But what's funny about this creator is she's been blocked on my page for about a year now. We had a situation a while ago where she was actually going after another person on the internet, and I stood up for him. So there's a new convention that's coming out. I don't know if you guys have seen the Rainbow Convention.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rainbow Convention is a new one that's being put together by the lovely Pinup Jordan. We love her so much. But this person is one of her judges, and I guess word got back around to her, and she saw my video. So the fact that I went on there and I guess read the terms and conditions and kind of spelled it out for people like she has in the past, it was automatically a, where did he get that? That's my kind of content kind of thing. And she stitched it and kind of went after me in a way.
I just think that we've seen a lot of ugliness in the industry on social media in general, in the last couple of weeks, if not, it's out there anyways. But I just think we as a whole, as an industry, need to just do better and let people do their thing and stop trying to pick everybody apart, because people have been really
Nasty.
big assholes lately.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the people involved in the drama, but the comment sections get insane.
I feel like when you become an influencer, or you have any kind of following,
Yeah.
people dehumanize you.
Mm-hmm.
And they forget that you're a person too. They feel like, with your followers and all these things that you have, that you're untouchable, that they can say any of these things to you and it's fine, and it's not.
Yeah.
And you've made a post about that before, I believe, where you were like, I'm tired of trying to prove that I'm a good artist. I know that I'm a good artist.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like for a minute there was a moment where if we weren't constantly posting online,
Yeah.
clients were like, "Oh, they're
Not busy.
They're not busy. They can't do anything. Like, what's wrong with them?" And it's just like, I'm tired. I don't want to keep posting every single day. It's a whole nother job outside of doing hair.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's fun, but sometimes it's, draining. And I don't want to spend an hour and a half trying to post a picture. Like, it's, we cycle through which picture's the best one, which one's not the best one. I'll ask like 5 people which one their favorite is, and all of them will pick a different one. And then, you get in your head like, okay, do any of them look good or do they all suck? Like, I don't know.
Meanwhile, I'm just like, I'll throw it up there. It'll either work or it won't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny what you said that about people are like, look at your page and you're not posting. So like, oh, they must not be busy. And it's like, no, I am busy.
And that's why.
That's
You're
why
so
I'm not
busy, you
posting.
can't post.
Yeah, I don't have time for this.
Exactly.
yeah.
People who are posting every day like that literally have people helping them because it's the job of 2 people.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm. There's someone recording the content
Yeah,
or taking the
exactly.
content while you're consulting with your next guest. I find that, like, I enjoy taking the photos. I enjoy editing the content.
Mhm.
That's what I enjoy about it. And if I'm not feeling it, I just don't post it. Like, I just don't post for a while. I'll go through, like, months of, like, I haven't posted anything. But I have all this content I've taken
Yeah.
at work.
Well, that's nice because you've got a backlog of stuff you can use.
I
later
never
when
use
you
it.
Feel like
I'll just take more. I'm like, I'll delete it. It takes up too much space on my phone.
If I ever have like a backlog of stuff, I'll definitely just like keep it there and just kind of remember it. And if there's a day where I'm bored and I haven't posted in a while, I'll definitely go back and recycle it or
B-roll.
use whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely save that stuff. Yeah. Don't delete it.
Okay. If you say so.
Do we want to talk about this one?
The middle one,
Mm-hmm.
Taylor and Alfredo.
Yeah.
That sitch.
That was a whole situation. I actually contacted Maggie that redid her hair
Mm-hmm.
to have her on the podcast. She ghosted me though. She said
Yeah.
that she wanted to come on and then she ghosted. So,
Aw.
but then I found out some other things that I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine that she ghosted.
Maggie.
Oh.
Mags something. She works with Behind the Chair. She's one of their influencers.
Sure.
Gross.
Or maybe I'm thinking of a different situation now that I said Maggie.
Are you talking about the girl that fixed her hair?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mag's official.
I don't know her.
I don't know her either.
The hair, it looked beautiful.
It was beautiful
It was
and
gorgeous.
gorgeous. And
Yeah.
I wanted to have her on to talk about like what was your process or
Yeah.
all of that. But what's your opinion on the Taylor and Alfredo drama?
Okay. So,
He's like, I have it.
yeah. Whenever I get on TikTok for entertainment. I don't really
Mhm.
get on there to post as much. I'm trying to, but I don't care enough to make it a whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I go on there a lot for entertainment, and I, for the longest time until recently, have not had any like hairdresser things on my TikTok. All the algorithms kind of adjust to like what our other social medias are, but I made it a point. I didn't want my TikTok to be hairdresser TikTok. All of my Instagram, no matter what I do, I scroll and I see hair.
Mhm.
Same on Facebook, same, just on every other social media. It's all about hair. And there was a day where I was scrolling and Taylor actually popped up. It wasn't Alfredo and Philip. It was actually Taylor. She popped up and I looked at her and was like, oh, this girl, she kind of looks like Kylie Jenner. And then she starts talking about her hair. And I'm like, okay, I'm a hairdresser. Let's
Let's
listen
hear
to
it.
this.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And then I see it's about Alfredo and Philip doing her hair. And I am just in shock for a minute. Like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
I actually know these guys. Like, this is kind of crazy. So I go through, I watched the series, I watched some of her older videos, and when it first came about, the very first video that I saw was the one where she's talking about all the receipts, you know?
Yes.
That video, I was living for it. I was so excited. I was like, this is great. I mean, like, I feel kind of bad that, you know, anyone were to get the amount of backlash that he did. Like, my little situation with this other hairstylist in my moment was like tiny compared to what he went through. So I kind of made a response jumping on it because I felt like everyone was doing it. I was like, you know, everyone's doing this. I want to give my little take on it. And in the moment to start, I was definitely on her side about it. I felt like with what was promised, you know, her main thing she wanted was extensions.
Mhm.
I think that was the only thing that girl cared about was extensions. I think they could have colored her hair blue or purple. As long as she had some hair, she would have been fine. From the situation, it seemed like she was promised the extensions, flew all the way out there, and then they were like, sorry, we're not putting extensions in. But they still did. They just cut them all the way off to where she had some fullness. And I mean, it looked okay, but it wasn't like what she was looking for.
Mhm.
And it definitely seemed more of like a cash grab kind of moment once everything started coming to light. You know, the flight was paid for by a brand. She had her hotel paid for by a brand. The sponsorship from him using certain brands in the videos, he was already getting paid for that. No, she didn't pay for anything, but in a way, he was going to make money off of her face, looking exactly the same as Kylie. I mean, I feel like that's what her whole page is centered around, right? Like, I don't really see anything on her page that makes her like her. I think it's just all like kind of being a Kylie lookalike kind of thing.
Right.
And he was kind of taxing off of that in a way. And once you go back and you see how many views the videos got, I mean, per million on TikTok is about $1,000. And I think at the time, last time I checked, it was at like 10 million views for the 4 parts. So he's making about 10 grand off of just those 4-part videos. So at the time, when it first happened, I was completely on her side, 100%. But as time's gone on and I've kind of seen like how this girl is, I definitely feel like they were both in the wrong. I feel like they both kind of used each other in a sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's just, I don't know. I don't really support either of the situations. I don't follow either of them. I think she's a very problematic person. Did you see she got her hair done again?
She did, and it's black now.
Yeah, now it's black. Like, why?
After it was
After
fixed,
all of that
After
work,
it was fixed.
she colored it black.
Yeah, extensions and all.
Uh-huh.
And-
So the point was she really just wanted the extensions for free.
Yeah.
Which she could have reached out to any hairstylist and been like, look, I have this following. Will you give me extensions for free?
Right. I think she knew that at the time. I mean, Alfredo still has a really big following on there. So I think she saw that there was a big spotlight that she could have if she had just gone on there and done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that she like had to say anything. A lot of people saw what happened and then kind of put their 2 cents in and picked her apart. I remember I think the first 3 parts, everything was fine. But when the 4th part got posted and people started picking apart her hair and started saying, you know, you got on this flight to go all the way out there and that's it. Like, it just, yeah, I feel like then she had something that she could kind of go off of. And
she fed on the negative comments that were happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it blew up. And then I saw it on my For You page and I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yep. It was an insane moment in time. I feel like every hairdresser on the internet and in person, like everyone at work was talking about it. My coworkers were sending me the videos.
I had clients come in that were bringing it up. They were like,
Yes.
do you know these guys? And I have met both of them. I haven't had my personal best experiences with Alfredo, but Philip is an angel. I'm kind of glad that
absolutely.
I'm kind of glad everyone's forgetting that he was even in the video.
It's all about Alfredo and Taylor.
Yeah. But I feel like he's kind of like gone away now. Like, is he still like posting as much?
Who, Alfredo?
Yeah.
I haven't even noticed. Erica actually knows
do
him
follow
personally.
him. Well, I don't, not personally.
He was your boss.
We're not friends. He is my former boss.
That's your former boss.
Yeah, well, he was the director of education when I worked for a Brazilian Blowout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you. I can't really pick a side.
Mhm.
Like, to me, it was like she was saying, oh, he gets paid for all this stuff and this and that. And she was saying, I had other, other offers or whatever. And I went with him. And it's like, I felt like, did you not know what it was going into it? That's what it is. It's social media. Like the brands, he's been open about the brands sponsoring the hair, the trips, all this stuff, So I felt like he got unfairly ripped apart, and I also felt like it kind of felt like she was just whining about wanting extensions a little bit. But at the same time, she did fly all the way out there, and it very much does seem like she was told she was going to get extensions.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, it seems like a bunch of hullabaloo about really like too much drama for the situation is how I felt. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is so dumb that it's turned into this big viral thing that people who aren't even hairstylists are involved in and invested in, and watching hairstylists rip each other apart in the comments. And I felt like that doesn't do anything to dispel this stereotype of what hairstylists are, which can be like catty and dramatic and stuff like that. So I just felt like the way, not so much Alfredo and her and like that, the initial situation and what it was all about, like I felt like it was kind of stupid. But then everybody came in the comments and that people should be ashamed of themselves the way they were acting. That's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Absolutely.
My
only 2 cents is same with you. I was on her side completely at first, and then it just turned into everyone's tearing him apart, everyone's tearing her apart. And like you said, once you become an influencer, and Alfredo has I just looked, he is still posting. He has 1.4 million followers on TikTok.
You can rip me apart on the internet if I make $10,000 off one video.
Also, yes. Yes.
Well, and then here was the other thing is people were ripping on his work, but her hair was in shambles when he got it.
Oh, yeah.
And it don't matter who did it. It wasn't going to fade fantastically because the integrity of the hair was not there, no matter how much K18 we have put on it. We can
no
only
matter
do so
how many
much.
K18 sandwiches you make.
Exactly.
That shit is not going to come back to life.
Not right away, at least.
Right. And like you said, yes, people were tearing apart the hair. I was one of those people. I didn't publicly do it, but I had that in my head, was like, oh, well, that's why I'm on her side. But then whenever everything happened, like, he is a human.
Yeah.
With feelings. And regardless, it's exactly what you said. The hair was in shambles.
Yeah.
No matter who did that hair, it wasn't going to look its absolute best. And whether what she said was true or what he said was true, the fact that everyone was ripping apart both of them was like, oof. I was scared. I was like, I don't want to post anything. I don't want to ever get famous on social media now, if that's what's going to happen.
I thought it was unnecessary, but that is also the internet. That's the downside of social media.
It definitely like blew up to the point where it didn't need it to be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, it was fun TikTok drama at first.
Yeah. And then it got dark and sad and kind of miserable for both of them.
Yeah.
Well, I do follow Alfredo still. Have you guys seen, there's a video of this lady who has her own following. I can't remember her name, or Tina something. I don't know, does comedy, something like that. And she took Ambien and then colored her hair. And she was like channeling Jim Carrey. And she's like, we're going to rinse it out. It looks a little dark, but hang on. I'm going to dry it first because not everybody needs we don't need to call Alfredo in on everything, ladies, right? And then he like stitched her video and she's like fangirling out. So it was like nice to see Alfredo get a little bit of like some love after that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was funny.
Ooh, and then the last one, and like one of the ones that I've been invested in quite recently, it is social media drama, but it's actual real life.
Mm-hmm.
And more people, I think, need to, how am I trying to say this? More people should hear about it and take note on how the person is handling it, and that's Lynn and Maggie.
Yeah.
That situation is actually scary. How someone could take so much advantage of someone who looked up to them so much and then eventually became partners with that person. Married, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. They were
Married
for
to
He
that.
6
proposed
years.
to her on stage at like some award show
Oh,
or
really?
class or something. I
Yeah, it
remember
was like a
seeing
big
it
deal.
when it happened. Yeah.
I know they were married for 6 years.
Yeah.
That's
and they have a kid
crazy.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently a massive, huge house
Yeah.
that neither of them could afford on their own. And what is your thoughts on it? You're the reason I know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a day where I was going through stories on Instagram, and a few of my girls, they just had these little posts that were like, if you haven't seen yet, go over to Maggie's page, read the highlight, watch the stories. It's so crazy that we have this going on in our industry, that kind of thing. And I just felt so out of the loop. I was like, what's going on? So I go over to her page, and she has a story highlight that's still there that you can go through and read every single story of her touching on the matter. And it talks about just what her and him kind of went through and how she was abused in many ways. And when it comes to the situation, it's very, very sad. They are both very big powerhouses in our industry. They have followings, they have brands, they have sponsorships, they have it all. But something like what she's experienced is not okay. And I feel like that comes back to the whole idea of like when we have these big followings and we're all influencers, like we're untouchable, that kind of thing. We're still people, and for her, I just feel so bad that she kind of had to keep quiet about it and kind of just, tucked it away and didn't talk about it for so long. I feel like if I was her, I would have exploded at some point, and I feel like that's what we could be experiencing and witnessing right now, is that she's finally fed up with having to keep quiet about, the things that she has experienced with him. I've never met either of them personally. Me and Maggie have talked online a few times, but it definitely feels like I could definitely see it happening, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, and she was afraid to say anything because of his following, because he could, quote unquote, destroy her, or he made her feel that way,
Yeah.
that he could take her down. And I think she finally just got fed up with the fact that she was just like, you know what? I don't care. You're saying all of these terrible, terrible things about me online, in person, and all of this. Well, this is what he's done to me now. And I think her sharing her story will give other women the courage to stand up for themselves when they're in a situation where the man has this like power hold on them.
Yeah.
Erica has something to say.
No, I don't. I
Oh,
was just
you're
going to
just-
say there's a lot of like mental grooming that it takes in a situation like that to keep the victim quiet, to not say anything because they convince you a whole lot of things, you know what I mean? So if she were to talk about it, it would destroy the image of him. It would destroy the image of what he's trying to make her out to be, and see that, you know what I mean? So they have to do a lot of stuff that people can't see on the outside. And so it can be, then you're like, if I even say anything, is anyone going to believe me? You know what I mean? There's that too. And so I'm proud of her for
standing up for herself.
speaking up, and like I hope that it gives some other woman in her own version of a similar situation the strength to see that people will rally around you.
Yeah, her speaking up, I definitely saw a lot of people she was starting to like share on her story for them,
Mm-hmm.
talking about their personal experiences and how they were also scared to talk about it, because when you have someone that goes through and abuses you, they manipulate you to the point where you feel like they have all the power, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, anything that you say could hurt you. And I think her bringing it up and talking about it definitely had a lot of other people come forward and share their stories too. And I feel like it's something that's so more common out there that we don't realize. And it definitely should be more of a conversation than it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we stand with Maggie.
Yes.
Yeah, we love
Period.
Maggie.
Point
Yeah.
blank. No questions.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah.
We love you, Maggie.
If you're
Seriously.
listening, if you listen.
Right.
What other questions do you have, Erica?
I feel like we have covered everything.
Oh, you had one.
What?
Did someone help you with social media in the beginning, or did you just go for it?
I mean, I really feel like I went for it. I feel like when it came to like tagging everybody,
Mhm.
you know, we use this brand, we tag them if they share it, you know,
Mhm.
that helps. Tagging like magazines
Mhm.
or just tagging people in general, any kind of repost that definitely helped like push me out there to more people. But I feel like with me starting out, it was just me trying as hard as possible to get as much content out there as possible, posting every single day, sometimes twice a day, paying attention to the numbers. If the numbers aren't doing good, switching it up, that kind of thing. It was really, yeah, it was kind of a little solo mission for me.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
There you go.
And-
I was gonna say, if you had a tip for somebody starting now, although it's a very different world than it was when you started,
Yeah.
would you say you could give somebody one tip that you think would make a difference for them?
Don't change yourself for other people. Like, I feel like everyone wants to kind of be the same now. And
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to that whole, like, there's always someone on a stage telling us how we need to do things. I don't know. I would say, yeah, don't change yourself for other people. If you have something that you really want to do, go for it. I wanted, for the longest time, whenever I was in hair school, I wanted to work with Guy Tang. That was my dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked and I worked and I worked. And one day I got a call from Guy Tang and he asked me to be his hair educator. You know, we flew out to LA. We educated for the company for 4 years. It was amazing. And I think with how persistent I was and just how I kept going for it, it finally happened. You know, just follow your dreams, you know? Anything is possible if you really believe in it.
Love it.
Period. Where can people find you?
On Instagram, I'm at Josh Does Hair. TikTok, Josh Does Hair. Josh Does Hair everywhere. Yeah.
On all the things.
All the
On
things.
all the things.
Yeah. Pinterest.
Oh, you
Pinterest
post on
too.
Pinterest, yeah.
Okay, actually, I have a question about that. Is it your hair stuff? And do you feel like Pinterest has been like useful in building your following on other platforms?
So Pinterest, now, I have no idea. 5 years ago, absolutely.
Okay.
So it started with me. I had a client in my chair and she was scrolling for inspiration while I'm doing her hair. And she's scrolling, and I look down and I see one of my pictures on her Pinterest board that she's scrolling on. And I'm like, oh my God, that's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. So I go and I see, and it's from a magazine that's shared my stuff before. And then I click on it. And whenever you click on a photo, it starts to auto-populate all of the similar images.
Yeah.
There were 5 or 6 more of, different photos of mine. And some of them were like wig companies in other countries trying to sell things, like, just random things like that. But I saw it and was kind of like, huh, that's driving a lot of engagement to their website. Let me try this. So I started taking all of my photos and I would put them on Pinterest, and it would auto link them back to my Instagram. And there was a moment where like some of the pictures would go viral on Pinterest, and in return, people would start discovering me from Pinterest of all places. Yeah. So
I love
for a
that.
moment there was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there is now.
Hmm.
I don't know if people use Pinterest like that now anymore.
For hair.
I use Pinterest.
Yeah. I kind of
frequently.
forgot
Yeah.
about it for a little bit, but I've been hearing more and more that like for a lot of different things it can be people use it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they really are like they have a trend predictor and everything.
Yeah. People
And-
look for hair on there. They look
Yeah.
for their nails. People look how to decorate their rooms on there.
That's where I go to look up my nails. I mean, I don't obviously not for hair so much. But,
But like me personally, I never use that app.
yeah.
I go on there and I'll post, my stuff and get off of it, but I never like look for inspiration on it.
Hmm.
But just because I don't doesn't mean there isn't a whole another, group of people out there that are doing it.
Yeah, and those are people that could bring money to
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Who knew?
There you go.
Love it.
Well, if you want to follow us, I'm Herix Hunter on all the things.
I'm Erica the Redhead on all the things.
Our podcast is Break Room Banter Pod on all the things. If you want to find an additional way to support us, you can go to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/Break Room Banter Pod. And remember,
You always have a seat at our table.
bye.